My parents thought I would run the family jewelry business for my sister after they betrayed me. So I quit. Now they're screaming about the most expensive mistake the shop has ever made. My parents transferred the jewelry shop I'd worked at for 10 years to my younger sister. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply said, "Handle it yourself." Now, my phone won't stop ringing, and they are calling me in absolute panic. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand why I walked away from a legacy I built with my own hands, you have to understand the Tuesday afternoon that changed everything. I found out the truth while looking for insurance documentation in my father, Arthur's, office file cabinet. It was a mundane task. The shop was quiet, a rare lull in the mid-afternoon. I was kneeling on the carpet, sifting through hanging folders that smelled like dust and old coffee. The transfer papers were nestled amid obsolete lease agreements and vendor contracts. It wasn't even a hidden file. It was just there. Legacy Jewelers. My grandfather's company. The shop where I'd spent practically every waking hour for the previous 10 years. My hands actually shook as I pulled the paperwork out. I had to read the first paragraph 3 times before the legalese translated into reality in my brain. The business was formally handed to my younger sister, Mia, 6 months ago. She now owned every asset. Every loose diamond in the safe. The entire facility. The customer list. The reputation. The papers showed a date of July 1st. They had kept this a secret for half a year. 6 months where I worked myself to exhaustion, missing my best friend's engagement party, skipping dates, and working through the flu, believing I was sweating equity into my own future. I gently put everything back in its place. I closed the drawer. I stood up, smoothed my skirt, and walked back out onto the sales floor. Arthur stood at the repair counter, looking at an antique Cartier watch under his loupe. My mother, Beatrice, was assisting a customer in selecting an engagement ring, her voice pitching up in that sugary sales tone she used. And Mia? Mia sat at the desk beside the window, browsing through TikTok on her phone. Neither of them glanced up when I walked in. Why would they? I was part of the furniture. The business has been my entire universe since the day I graduated high school. While my friends packed their bags for state universities, I stayed behind. Arthur told me that trade school and hands-on experience were worth more than a degree. So I studied the business from the ground up. I learned gemology, metalwork, customer service, accountancy, and inventory management. I absorbed everything Arthur taught me, even when he was harsh, even when he was impatient. I acquired my GI, Gemological Institute of America, graduate certification by taking night sessions. I would work a 10-hour shift, drive 45 minutes to class, study until midnight, and do it all again the next day. I developed contacts with our suppliers in Antwerp and Mumbai. I attended trade exhibitions in Las Vegas and Tucson. I modernized our custom design services, bringing in CAD software when my father wanted to stick to hand sketches. Mia, on the other hand, went to college. She studied marketing at UCLA, which mostly seemed to involve tailgating and themed parties. She spent her summers touring across Europe on my parents' dime. She joined a sorority. She'd come into the business about twice a month, generally when she needed her credit card paid off. She didn't know the difference between a round brilliant and a princess-cut diamond. She once asked a customer, to their face, whether sapphires came from mines or trees. Nonetheless, according to the piece of paper in the back office, she was now the sole proprietor of Legacy Jewelers. I completed the remainder of that Tuesday on autopilot. It's amazing how well you can function when you are in a state of shock. I assisted Mrs. Allen in selecting freshwater pearls for her granddaughter's graduation. I sized Mr. Bennett's wedding band, carefully hammering the gold on the mandrel. I processed 3 internet orders. I updated our social media profiles and confirmed appointments for the remainder of the week. I had done all of these jobs 1,000 times before, yet everything seemed different today. Every time I looked at a price tag, I realized, I am making money for Mia. Every time I polished a display case, I thought, I am cleaning Mia's glass. That evening, I sat in my apartment and reflected on my life for the first time in years. I lived in a tight studio apartment because I couldn't afford anything nicer on the salary my parents paid me. My car was 15 years old and the air conditioner only worked when it was below 70 degrees outside. My savings account had exactly $4,500 in it. I hadn't had a vacation since high school. I worked an average of 70 hours every week, including weekends. I accomplished all of this without receiving a market-rate wage. The agreement had always been for me to earn sweat equity. Arthur stated that I was investing in my future. He assured me that the shop would soon be mine and that I was earning my inheritance through hard work and commitment. I had believed him. I'd given up my 20s, my social life, my romantic relationships, my freedom, for a lie. Wednesday morning, I awoke with complete clarity. I wasn't furious. Rage is hot, this was cold. I wasn't injured. That implies I could heal. I was finished. I dressed in my best blazer, went to the business, and arrived at my normal time, 6:30 a.m. I brewed the coffee in the back room. The smell of the roast usually woke me up, but today I was already wide awake. I opened my laptop and looked up resignation templates. By the time Beatrice and Arthur arrived at 8 a.m., I had written my letter and created a comprehensive handover document. "Good morning, sweetie," Beatrice said, hanging her coat in the back. "Did you remember to call about the showcase lighting? It's flickering again." "We need to talk," I said. "I told you to call the electrician," Arthur grunted, heading for the safe. "No," I said, my voice steady. "All of us. Including Mia." Arthur frowned, stopping with his hand on the dial of the safe. "Mia doesn't come in on Wednesdays. You know this. It's her yoga morning. Call her," I said. "This is of direct significance to her." Something in my tone, maybe the lack of deference, maybe the flatness of it, made them both pause. Arthur looked at me, really looked at me, and took out his phone without resistance. Mia entered 20 minutes later, wearing expensive leggings and holding a green smoothie, looking unhappy that she had been summoned. "This better be important, Elena," she remarked, dropping her bag on the repair bench. "I have a Pilates class at 11 o'clock. I set 2 copies of my resignation letter on the glass counter. One for Beatrice, one for Arthur. I am resigning from Legacy Jewelers. Effective immediately." The quiet lasted for several seconds. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator in the back. "What?" Beatrice's voice came out as a whisper. "I'm quitting. I won't be working here anymore." Arthur finally picked up the letter and scanned it. His face turned red. "Elena, what is this about? Has someone offered you more money? Is this a leveraging tactic?" "I discovered the transfer documentation," I said simply. "I know you handed over the business to Mia." Beatrice's face went pale. She looked like she might faint. Mia, however, seemed perplexed. She looked between us, blinking. I didn't know you knew," Mia stammered. "Apparently not," I said. "Honey, we were going to tell you," Beatrice began, reaching across the counter for my hand. I pulled it away. "When?" I asked. "After another year of working 70-hour weeks? When I hit 35? I realized last night I have given you a decade for nothing." Arthur raised his voice. "It's not nothing. You have learned vital skills. You've had the opportunity to learn the trade under a master while earning money." I maintained my voice level. "You lied to me. For years, you assured me that I was striving toward ownership. You made me believe that my future was here." "We never guaranteed anything in writing," Arthur stated cold. And I watched him switch from father to businessman. You chose to work here. Nobody coerced you. The coldness of his comment clinched the deal for me. It severed the last thread of guilt I felt. You're totally correct, I said. I elected to work here. And I am now choosing to go. You cannot simply forsake the family business. Beatrice's voice cracked, tears welling up. This is not my family's business, I said, pointing to the papers. The legal records state that it is Mia's business. I turned to face my sister. Congratulations on the inheritance, Mia. I hope you enjoy it. Mia had been silent during the conversation, shrinking back against the wall. Elena, I did not ask for this, she whispered. I do not care what you asked for, I said. This is what occurred. And I am done. I removed a large, thick folder from my bag and dropped it on the counter with a heavy thud. This includes passwords for all of our accounts, contact information for our top suppliers, details on ongoing orders, customer preferences, forthcoming appointments, and maintenance schedules. Everything you need. Arthur's countenance changed from fury to terror as he looked at the folder. He realized, in that moment, exactly how much I did. Elena, be reasonable, he said, his voice dropping. You cannot abandon us like this. We have the Robinson anniversary celebration order due next Thursday. The Kinsey bespoke engagement ring requires final CAD approval. Mrs. Miller's estate valuation is only half done. These are company concerns. Correction, I said. These are concerns that the owner should address. I looked at Mia. You are the owner. Handle them. Mia's eyes went wide. I don't know how to do any of that. I don't even know the password to the inventory system. Then learn, I said. I did. I gathered my personal belongings from the back office, a few reference books I'd bought with my own money, my favorite mug, and a photograph of Grandpa Lawrence from before his death. Everything else, the tools, the samples, the awards, belonged to the shop. I strolled into the store one last time, past the display cases I'd set up, the repair bench where I'd spent thousands of hours, and the design table where I'd drawn unique pieces for clients. Please, Elena. Beatrice called after me, sobbing now. We can debate this. We can figure something out. I hesitated at the doorway. The bell above the door jingled, a sound I had heard every day for 10 years. There is nothing to discuss, I said. You made your decision. And I'm making mine. The first several days felt odd. Like phantom limb syndrome, but for a job. I slept past 6 a.m. for the first time in years. I went to the grocery store on a weekday morning and was amazed by how empty it was. Is this how normal people lived? I read a whole book in one afternoon. I forgot what day it was because, for the first time, it didn't matter. But while my apartment was quiet, my phone was a war zone. Beatrice phoned every few hours, leaving voicemails that ranged from guilt trips to bargaining. Elena, your father is so stressed. His blood pressure is up. At the very least, come in part-time? Just to handle the books? Think of our customers, Elena. They're asking for you. I didn't respond. Mia texted me every day. The majority of her texts were anxious queries. Mia, how do I log into the GIA database? Mia, what does rhodium plating mean? A guy is asking if we do it on site. Mia, help. I can't find the pricing formula for the loose diamonds. I did not react. Arthur did not respond at all. His silence told me everything I needed to know about his pride. He was waiting for me to crawl back. He thought I would run out of money, or get bored, or feel guilty. On day 5, I began job hunting. I revised my resume. It was impressive. GIA graduate gemologist. 10 years of management experience. CAD design certification. Metalworking proficiency. Within 2 days, I had 3 interviews set with competitive jewelry businesses in the region. The jewelry world is small, people talk. They were all astonished to find that I was accessible. "We heard you were going to take over your family's firm," stated the manager of Prestige Gems during my interview. "Plans have altered," I said simply. "I'm looking for a place where growth is based on merit." By the end of the week, I had received 2 job offers. Both provided genuine salaries, double what my father paid me, benefits, and paid time off. One offer was from a high-end shop in Beverly Hills. Corporate, safe, lucrative. The other was with Lumina Designs, run by a woman named Vivian Sterling. She was a jewelry designer who specialized in bespoke, artistic engagement rings and wanted someone to help manage her expanding business. I was leaning toward Vivian's studio. It felt creative. It felt respectful. Then, on Thursday evening, 6 days after I walked out, Arthur called. His name appeared on my screen. I nearly didn't answer. But curiosity, and perhaps a little bit of dark satisfaction, got the best of me. "Hello, Arthur," I answered. "Elena." His voice sounded strained. "Tight. We need to discuss." "Do we?" "The Robinson account," he said. "They are threatening to leave." My stomach dropped slightly. David and Laura Robinson had shopped at Legacy Jewelers for 37 years. They were our whales. They spent around $45,000 every year. David bought Laura a new piece for every birthday and anniversary. "Why are they leaving?" I inquired, keeping my voice even. "Laura came in yesterday during her quarterly cleaning appointment," Arthur said. He sounded tired. Mia didn't know the intake procedures." "Go on." "She tossed Laura's vintage Tiffany bracelet into the ultrasonic cleaner without examining it first." I closed my eyes and pinched the bridge of my nose. "Oh, no. The ultrasonic cleaner uses high-frequency sound waves. It's great for diamonds and gold. It is catastrophic for delicate antique filigree or porous stones. The vibrations can shake loose old settings or disintegrate brittle metalwork. The artwork contains fine filigree work," Arthur continued. It disintegrated, Elena. The bracelet is in pieces." "That is Jewelry 101, Arthur," I said. "I taught Mia that 3 years ago when she interned for a summer." "Mia attempted to explain," Arthur said. "But she made it worse. She volunteered to fix it, but then admitted she has no experience working on antique items. Laura asked where you were. Mia told her you didn't work here anymore. And? Laura wants to deal with you personally. Or they pull their business. Not just the cleaning, the anniversary commission. Everything." Silence stretched between us. "What do you want me to do, Arthur?" "Come back. Talk with Laura. Repair the bracelet. Smooth things out." "No. Elena, you handed over the business to Mia. This is her problem to tackle. She can't handle it. You know she can't." Arthur snapped. "Then maybe you should have considered that before giving her the keys to the kingdom," I shot back. "We assumed." He trailed off. "What? What did you assume?" I laughed, a harsh sound. "That I would always labor for free? That I would be grateful to serve my younger sister for the rest of my life like some feudal servant? We believed you'd understand. Mia requires security. She lacks your abilities and work ethic. The business will provide her with stability." There it was. The logic that punished competence and rewarded incompetence. So, because she is less capable, she is entitled to inherit everything? That is your logic? That's not what I intended. "Arthur, listen to me," I cut him off. "I spent 10 years mastering this trade. I gave up my youth. I did it because you promised me a future. You lied. And now that your deception is blowing up in your face, you expect me to bail you out? This isn't only about me. This is about the family's legacy. Grandpa Lawrence built this. Nobody cared more about Grandpa's legacy than I did, I said, my voice shaking slightly. But Grandpa is dead. And his business is now run by someone who destroys vintage Tiffany pieces because she's too lazy to check a manual. I am requesting your assistance, Elena. And I am declining. I took a breath. But I'll offer you some free advice. Tell Mia to contact Lena Hughes at Heritage Restoration. Lena specializes in antiques. She can fix the bracelet. It will cost you about $2,000, but she is worth it. What about Laura Robinson? She wants to speak to you. If Laura contacts me directly, I'll speak with her. But I won't step foot inside that building. This is petty, Elena. This is not like you. You're correct. The old Elena would have run over as soon as you called. The old Elena would have fixed everything, asked for nothing, and thanked you for the privilege. But that Elena doesn't exist anymore. You killed her when you signed those transfer papers. I hung up. My heart was pounding, but for the first time, it wasn't from anxiety. It was from adrenaline. I was free. I accepted the job with Vivian Sterling at Lumina Designs the next day. The studio was in Silver Lake. It was nothing like the dark, wood-paneled interior of Legacy Jewelers. It was an open-air loft with floor-to-ceiling windows. Vivian was in her early 50s, with silver-streaked black hair and paint-stained fingers. She didn't wear a suit, she wore designer jeans and silk tunics. "Welcome, Elena," she said on my first day. "I don't believe in hoarding information. I believe in partnership." She walked me through her pricing algorithms, her supplier list, her design philosophy. She treated me like a peer, not a subordinate. "I saw your portfolio," Vivian said. "You have a gift for blending vintage aesthetics with modern durability. I want you to lead our new heirloom redesign division." "Really?" I asked. "On my first week?" "Why wait?" she smiled. "I recognize talent. And I know that when someone has been undervalued for a long time, they are usually hungry to prove themselves." The salary was $90,000 a year plus commission. Full benefits. 401k matching. I had been begging my father for $45,000 for years. The first paycheck hit my account 2 weeks later. After taxes, it was over $2,000. I stared at it on my banking app. Then I went to Target. I bought new towels, fluffy ones, not the threadbare ones I'd had since college. I bought a high-end blender. I bought 600 thread count sheets. It sounds silly, but buying those sheets felt like more of a victory than anything else. Mia showed up at my apartment 3 weeks later. It was a Sunday afternoon. When I opened the door, I barely recognized her. The polished, makeup-wearing sorority girl was gone. Mia was wearing sweatpants, her hair was in a messy bun, and she had dark circles under her eyes. "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice trembling. I stepped aside. She walked in, sat on my cheap sofa, and burst into tears. "I can't do this," she sobbed. "I don't know what I'm doing, Elena. Every day is a disaster." "What happened?" I asked, handing her a tissue. I didn't offer tea. I wasn't comforting her, I was witnessing her. "Mr. Allen came in yesterday about his wife's ring repair. I couldn't find the paperwork. He got angry and left. Mrs. Miller called about her estate appraisal, and I didn't know the difference between replacement value and fair market value. I told her the wrong number. She looked up at me, mascara running down her face. Why did they do this? I never wanted the shop. I hate jewelry. I hate retail. Did you ask Mom and Dad why? She nodded. They said you were strong enough to make your own way. They said I needed the security more than you did. I laughed bitterly. So because I was competent, I was punished. And because you were aimless, you were rewarded. It's not fair, Mia whispered. I know it's not fair. What do you want from me, Mia? Help me. Please. I'll pay you. We can make you a partner. I'll give you 20%. No. Elena, please. The business is failing. Here is what is going to happen, I said, standing up. You have 3 options. 1. Keep doing what you're doing and go bankrupt within a year. 2. Hire a professional manager, like Jack Turner, who just retired. It will cost you a fortune, but he might save the ship. 3. Sell the business. I can't sell it. Grandpa Lawrence. Grandpa Lawrence would rather see the business sold while it still has value than see it run into the ground, I said. And option 4, where I come back to save you, does not exist. Mia left an hour later. She looked defeated. But I felt sorry for her. She was a pawn in my parents' game, just like I was. The difference was, they set me up to be the workhorse, and her to be the trophy. Both roles were traps. 2 months later, I was thriving at Lumina. I ran into Laura Robinson at a coffee shop. She hugged me. Elena. I've been following your work on Lumina's Instagram. Stunning. Thank you, Laura. I heard about the bracelet. I'm so sorry. Oh, that, she waved her hand. Heritage Restoration fixed it. But David and I, we haven't been back to legacy. It's just not the same. The atmosphere is frantic. She leaned in. David wants to commission a 45th anniversary necklace. We want you to do it. I would be honored. That commission was worth $20,000. My commission on it was substantial. But the validation? Priceless. Meanwhile, I heard through the grapevine that Mia had hired Jack Turner, the retired jeweler I mentioned. He was expensive, and between his salary and the loss of clients like the Robinsons, Legacy Jewelers was barely breaking even. 4 months after I left, Beatrice called me. Her tone had changed. No more guilt trips. Now, it was desperation. Elena, we need to talk about finances. How about it? The firm is floundering. We've lost the Robinsons, the Kinseys, and the Bronsons. Jack's salary is eating our margins. We are cash flow negative. That is unfortunate. We were wondering. She hesitated. Would you be willing to invest in the firm? I paused. Excuse me? We could offer you a share in the business. In return for a capital injection. And maybe you could consult on the weekends? I actually laughed out loud. You want me to pay money to buy back a portion of the business I built? The business you gave away for free? We are family, Elena. Family doesn't steal a person's future, Mom. Family doesn't lie for 6 months. We didn't steal anything. We made a business decision. And I am making one too, I said. My decision is to invest in myself. Not you. I hung up. 6 months after I walked out, Mia called me directly. I'm selling it, she said. No preamble. Good, I said. It's the right move. I found a buyer. A chain from the city. They want the location and the client list. They're offering $900,000 after debts are cleared. Take it. I am, Mia said. She sounded relieved. I'm going back to school, Elena. I want to get a master's in environmental policy. I hate diamonds. I know you do. Elena? Yeah. I'm sorry. I should have spoken up when they signed the papers. I was selfish. Thank you for saying that. 8 weeks later, a check arrived in my mail. It was from Mia personally. It was for $450,000. Half the proceeds. A note was attached: "You built the value. This is yours. Mia." I stared at that check for a long time. Beatrice and Arthur sent me a cold email when the sale closed, blaming me for destroying the legacy. They didn't know Mia had split the money. I used some of the money to put a down payment on a condo, one with a working air conditioner and a view of the city. I invested the rest. I'm still at Lumina Designs. Vivian just made me a junior partner. I have my own clients, my own designs, and my own life. My parents have the retirement they deserve, resentful and wondering why their children don't visit. I have the life I deserve, one I earned, and one that no one can take away from me. And that is how I walked away from my inheritance and found something much more valuable: my self-worth.